Hey, how you doing?
I'm good, bro. Good morning.
Good morning. You morning at your side.
Yeah, just
How are you?
it's 10 o'clock now.
Oh, okay. Because I was almost wondering why morning time for this. I was
Yeah,
thinking
I was.
maybe.
Yeah, I just had some.
Uh, uh, I was thinking maybe it's going to be late at your side. That was why maybe the morning at our side. So I don't.
No, no, no.
Yeah, it's good. You forced me to be. This is you forced me to do this in the. My money is not used for engagement
Really?
like this. It's part.
Yeah. I mean, I yeah, I was not very sure of what exactly is the protocol, so
Yeah,
I could also have picked evening. But then I also looked at my calendar and I thought, okay, this is like the most convenient time for me, so to say.
of
So if
course.
there would
Because
have been a
it has to be.
preference, then yeah.
It's good if the time can always, I'm an entrepreneur, man, so I can pick my own schedule. Uh,
Yeah.
how have you been? Is your family over
Ah,
there?
we are doing well. We thank God. Everything is going fine. And you are,
Sorry,
how are you doing too? It's been a while.
I'm great. Yeah, I'm good. Of course, I saw your face. Like how many years like that now? I think 3 or 4 years
I
that
think that
briefly.
was 2019
Yeah,
when we last saw in
yeah, that you came
yeah,
in
2019.
to us. Though
Exactly.
we have talk, but it's good. Again.
Yeah.
And it's good that you guys are doing fine. You guys door
Yeah.
and open the door for
You were.
the sense of this is to see how we can connect, especially as we next couple of months we'll be having African guy Chanel me. So God is not committed to you. Of course, charity begins at
At
home.
home, exactly.
Yeah, I've picked quite a number type of you guys that you are Nigerians for since for doing the connects Nigerian Africans to diaspora opportunities, and at the same time to still think about the essence of traveling outside Nigeria. This is
Mm-hmm.
the main reason, and at the same time also have around us as a people. How you do it? What from what you are doing maybe outside, or what is also different from with people when you are in Nigeria. Basically, of course, I brought one person to bring quite a number of people. I've not been able to. Mama,
Mm-hmm.
she, she just came back from so 20 years in the US, but she loved more to stay in so elderly anyway. Of course, work with me and all that, and uh, only to and I'm I will be watching uh, people that are alone, but also of travel countries, at least more than one. It's, just like me, it has been yes, it's yes, very important. And sorry for the other you have been able to put it's great. Like I've never to know digital creator, yeah. So that correct data. That makes sense. So let's quickly go into this conversation with you about yourself. Can you use yourself?
No, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity also to have this discussion and to interface with you this morning. And yeah, we've known each other now for quite, I guess, 2007, no, 6 actually. So because I got to Futa then 2006, and of course, you were one of the main voices on campus back then. So yeah, it's been quite a journey. My name is Niyola Riwaju, like it's already rightly said, and I'm from the great kingdom of Owo, which is also right there in Ondo State. So I started my elementary education in Owo, and then also in Ondo State, I completed my secondary education, and from there again, I went to Futa, and from Futa, then everything just spiraled out. I moved to Germany in 2013, and the idea there was to start, like, when you graduate, you have your bachelor degree, and sometimes then you think of this idea of going abroad, and one of the things that come to mind then is, oh, I need to get a degree. Maybe my Nigerian degree is just not good enough, and I would like to get a new degree that would then give me the opportunity to also compete with people abroad, or to give you, this concept you have back then, this, you want to be global, you want to be international, and getting like a foreign degree would also, or like if you yeah, get a foreign degree, then you are also in a better place. So then I wanted to start all over in Germany, like do a bachelor degree. But then when I got here, you have to again first learn the language. And I was in the language class one day, I think that was early 2014, and one of the professors from the University of Bremen came around. So we just had a nice chit chat. Uh, Maybe we can reduce a little bit the background. The the Can you hear me?
You said?
Hello?
Yeah, I
Maybe
can hear you.
reduce the background sound
Oh, okay.
a little. Yes. E- Yeah, it's fine now. Thanks.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
great.
so basically then, yeah, I just had this brief discussion with the professor, and I was like, yeah, see, I have a degree from Nigeria, but then I thought maybe I need to do another bachelor degree, and he was like, no, 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 your bachelor degree does not matter, You have this degree, it looks good, just go ahead for your master degree and progress. So that was how then I decided to. So in FUTA, I studied livestock or animal production and health. And in Germany, most of these courses in the direction of animal production or agriculture is still largely in German language. And it's like one of the reasons I was also learning the language. So, but then I had not completed my language studies. I was just halfway, or I think some few months into the language training when I met a professor, and I was like, okay, if I will do my master's in animal science, then I need B2 German, and this I still need to. It's a level I still need to achieve. Then he was like, well, that's true, but you can also go for similar courses, and there is at that time one particular course which is done in English, so it's more like plant breeding and genetics. But there is again they call it agrigenomics, agricultural genomics. So it both encapsulates plant and animal breeding, but it focused a little more on plant breeding. So then I applied, I got into the program, and yeah, it was really nice. But towards the end of my program, I moved a little bit again to molecular nematology, which is like an aspect of plant science, phytomedicine. I mean, you've done crop science, right? If I remember, uh,
Mhm.
you were in you were in CSP, right?
CSP.
Yeah,
That did I do? I didn't do. I did a course. I think
FWC.
what I did in my first degree.
Okay, okay. Yeah, FWC. Yeah. So I mean, phytomedicine is more like also more close to CSP, crop soil and pest management. And this part of phytomedicine was more of biological control where you use like natural antagonists to control crop pest and stuff like that. So this was fascinating for me actually. And then I decided to do my master thesis in this field. But along the line, because we use like natural antagonists to eliminate crop pests and all of that, you also have to breed some of these nematodes you use as natural antagonists. And then I started breeding the nematodes for oxidative stress tolerance, desiccation stress tolerance, stuff like that. And from there, I was just reading more about oxidative stress, and then I learned about this connection between oxidative stress and cancer. And that was where I just somehow decided, okay, I want to go into the cancer biology field. And that was how I transitioned from MSc in agricultural genomics then to pursuing a PhD in cancer biology at the Anova Medical School. So upon finishing my PhD, then I also found a very interesting field, which is like this highly specialized gene therapy feed where you try to like correct genetic diseases by delivering the functional copies of those genes. So someone has a genetic defect, which is coming as a problem or a problem because there is a mistake or some errors in the gene encoding for a particular protein, and then we try to deliver a functional copy to either replace the faulty gene or to compensate for the faulty gene. And then this again got me fascinated. And after my PhD, I just moved to this gene therapy field. I stayed one more year at the university as a postdoc. And since 2022, I moved now to Boehringer Ingelheim Pharma. So it's a pharmaceutical company. So I moved then to the gene therapy group there. So yeah, this is just a short overview then of my background of I mean as at the time I left Nigeria, it was not really in the context of Jackpot per se. You know, of course, you seek economic prosperity, you seek all of this, but I think it was more of, oh, let me go abroad, let me see how things work. You know how strongly we were interested in politics, all these things we read in books, let's go out there, let's see how development works. And then when I'm 30 years old, I will come back to Nigeria and again start active politics and all of that. But then somehow things changed along the line. Yeah, so this is the story so far actually for me.
Listen, I was you were speaking. You gave me so much your career growth from to genetics from
Yes.
or everything, all this that God created, you move across it, is very important to the environment consumption. It is very important when it comes to environment consumption. Now, even the things that affect quite a lot of people, maybe about gene defects, everything like that. I wanted to ask you very quickly. I was on this stuff of yours. I will ask you because you got to a point that because you started looking at all these gene in biology when I was in secondary school, but immediately after secondary school, we entered the IS2. I discovered that not biology that I want to really get fascinated about biology, anything related. Also, I studied agriculture like you. Also, even me was even moved the ladder to PhD level. Still an agriculturist. To my PhD always been agriculture, but you move and it's very, very intriguing. What actually is it for duty that has been inspiration this period, or you are just for a course or a plan that can start or a career? You are not going to have career. We study quite a lot of people get and probably, of course, somebody can do Uber driver or can be a security person for jobs of Africans when Europe countries, but people always like that. I'm stay here. I'm not going to limit myself to this job. I'm going to further my study. I'm going to think more so that I can move up the ladder over the years. But it's quite a lot of bottom of pyramid, below that career level, and they keep doing those menial jobs over the years. No career growth, no career development. But one of the things that's so fascinating, of course, quite a number of you I know. One of the things that is so fascinating about you guys is that you've put a lot of yourselves. You put a lot of thoughts into saying no. You are going to become very worthwhile body in life. Quite a lot in your professional growth, in personal development. Quite a lot of you guys. Gone are those days that somebody will just jabber. And the only thing he just wants to go and do is interested is just he left the controls of the money. There is no economy. His own thought is that there is no economic prosperity in it. He just wants to live. Even till now, quite a lot of people still have that mentality. But quite a number of you guys, you're so conscious of the fact that you are in the ladder, your education with Nigeria, and your education, and just rumbling sector, and forget about why you even live in. So now, is it what actually motivated you? That is the next question now, to move across this. Even at a point, you said you wanted to start all over again, to do again. No, you understand? So until that prof told you that no, you can continue your master what's going on in your head at that time? What are you looking at, and what are you looking at? What is really yes, like Bob said that which also to quite a lot of us, party failure things are being a very high motivation. So what is yours?
I mean, very excellent point there. And honestly, it, I think if I mean, honestly, to be sincere, 2013, when I was leaving Nigeria, and I always tell everybody that cares to know, you have to be strategic about anything you want to do. I mean, we had strong student union, good background, and we gathered quite some decent experience in the university when it comes to strategy and being good planners. And I remember when I was leaving Nigeria in 2013, when it became clear I want to leave Nigeria, I I always still look for that note because everything I do, everything I plan, I write them down. Like this is where I want to be in another 5 years. And I can't find that old note from 2013 anymore, but I remember vividly what I wrote down. And it was simply that I'm setting a 5 year goal for myself to level out. So if you get to a foreign country, so in the first 3 years, it's going to be a very tough, difficult ride where I would probably not be able to afford food. I was that detailed in my planning. And yeah, so the first year then was more like learning the language. I was paying a lot of money in the language school. I could barely survive. But then the idea was by the third year, you should start smoothing out, maybe be able to breathe. Not like I'm still strangled or strangulated in a way. And then the idea would be after 3 years, I should be able to breathe. And by 4 years, I should have my degree. And hopefully by the fifth year, I should have a job with my German BSc degree. That was the plan. And it might, of course, big deviation from that plans I made those years, because I never even, I mean, again, us back then in FUTA. I don't think we were like the ideal people or candidates for PhDs in the future because, of course, unionism creates a different picture of who you are. But when I got here, before I then had a kind of systematic reset inside of me, I already laid that foundation before I left Nigeria. And it was a 5 year goal for me to break through in Germany. And within that 5 years was my plan to be proficient in German language. Within that 5 years was the plan to already achieve a German degree with which I can more easily compete for jobs with Germans. But yeah, when I got here, reality set in, and I had to every time reevaluate my plans. Yes, it was tough, it was challenging, but again, when you have your plans and with the motivation, yes, I mean poverty was not like the the biggest thing, but I always say that in this country, I cannot wash plates, and those years during my master's degree or in those early years when we had to do kitchen jobs, where we had to work in the factories, man, I always go to those jobs like with very like I was always very very unhappy because but I also understand or I understood quite well that you have to pay your dues, you have to go through these different challenging phases before you then progress to the next step. So, but it was clear for me, and I would always say instead of stay here and wash plate or do the again due respect, but I don't think this is where I belong to. Come leave everything I could be in Nigeria and then come here to wash plate and it was always like a strong motivation for me. Well, having said that, I was again, like I said, you always have to reevaluate your opportunities. When I got into the master program, I was hopeful that I would get a job after. When I finished my, by the time, even before I started the master program, still those years when I was in the language school, I always ask myself, what is my strongest point? And I guess you can attest to that. My strongest point is being a politician. We know that. Anybody who knows me knows this about who I am. But then I'm now in Germany. I at least for now can't be a politician. Not that I can't be, but you need to command the language to a certain point where you can express yourself very freely, you know, before you then say you want to be a public speaker. So then I asked myself in 2014, those years, so what else can you be aside a politician? And I was like, well, maybe I can really be a scientist. And it was with that energy, with that motivation, I went into the master program. Again, always critically appraising every of my steps. I was then able to cut the path for me, which now took me to this point where I am today. So I would really summarize that my strongest motivation is those years. No, I would not come abroad to do the menial jobs and yeah.
Very strong. Very strong. One thing I pick from what you said last is just picking your strongest point. Strongest, like if I'm energetic or passionate about something, it doesn't mean that that is the thing that I have to really do eventually. You are very strong when it comes to politics. I also know you to be a very strategic person. You mentioned it earlier. You mentioned it earlier. Really talking too much, even in Nigeria when you are campus. It might not be like of Jim. They will always say Nigeria, not those things. Navigating your path, navigating things good that are very strategic. You know, are not those that's about in the end. But one thing that you said is that for the first point, it like first. So identify that you have this strength in this particular area. But you want to realize you can also refocus, diverse. Divide your focus. It's like a fusion, a reflection of a thing in those years. You can sector because these things are like more similar to you talk about science, about lives and all those things. It's still more like your vision is like want to do this with just like me. I think I'm going to I don't know if any Nigerian professors and teachers, when they have said it in different fora, maybe they will not be happy. I did forestry and wood technology. All right with me because I was trees. I want to impact trees. To make sense, logical sense to me. Those days, those years, we'll be in the forest, and they will say we should mention the DBH and the height tree 1,000 to school to come and draw out everything like that. Light doesn't make any economic whatsoever. And the reason is simple because I look to see my energy where does path lies. But the same energy you put into politics, that's same, and that's it into science. Learning language it's very intriguing that you put that, you just go to another man.
Mm-hmm.
Probably be doing a mini those things that is very, very instructive for me. So I feel one thing I picked out is one should learn to study his or her own what you, not just what you're passionate about, but what you are very energetic about, what is as a person, and that's able to do. And you know, when you are you so you are even you are one of the very few people that when I saw online to study to even I can say this boldly that quite a number of your lecturers in Nigeria you're able to say one of they could, but you yourself, your plan, not really, your plan was your 5 years was to do your another BSc and at the job, move on with your life. You didn't really have to change orientation. You can use that same BSc mentorship.
Exactly.
In the right time, because if you didn't get to know that, automatically you your BSc or BTech certificate in straight to see. And but
yes,
getting somebody to through the right track is very, very important. It's shortening journey, and you move on to MSc, and you did not even, and yourself too, you decided within yourself to do something better with. You quickly MSc out there. You study, and luckily for you, you've been, that is one thing that is very intriguing with you. You've been able to do 3 different from gene and all those, you know, unlike here in Nigeria that we tell you that if you do not study that same degree when you are in first degree, you can't get you can't
exactly.
You can't that. So you have that same path, but some of us are deviants. Some of us are deviants. You know that I didn't do the same. What I did in my mind was Can you hear me?
Sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Can you hear me?
Yes. I can hear you.
Hello?
I can hear you. Yes.
Can you hear me?
Can hear you. I can hear you. Yeah.
You can hear me, right?
Yes.
Wait, please.
Yes. I can
Let
hear
me
you.
rejoin.
Oh, okay. Okay, guys. If you are still with us, that have joined this live, I know it's not always easy in this time for quite a number of people to like. Quite a lot of people will watch this video afterwards. But the guys that have joined, clearly, the oxygen. We are expecting my invite. I'm still going to bring you. It's good. It is our great sharing our journey. That's what we are trying to do here with SAPA to JAPA, the new paradigm shift. How strategically position themselves and transform their lives. Very, very important. I'm waiting for what to do, and so pick it up from there. I have to see Ayani you uh time me that is watching Academy Coyote. Thank you, Caleb. And thanks to this later on, and that you will most especially though one or two things. Are you back?
Can you hear me?
Can hear you
Yeah,
clearly.
yeah. Sorry, we had a routine. We had a routine Vodafone maintenance, and somehow the VLAN at home is not working, and I have to use my mobile, and then a call came in.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. So
Thank you,
yeah.
thank you, people. Tell me that network will never go from here.
No. I mean, it's a regular maintenance. Actually, I don't know. I
Great, great.
just before the meeting, I saw the Wi-Fi is up, but they sent an email already a week ago. But it was supposed to be from 1 a.m. to 5 a.m. when they will do this maintenance. So, yeah. Anyway, back to the point. You
Because
were
he's telling us that we don't receive emails in Nigeria before they go to for routine. Fine.
yeah. So now my line of thought is a little bit disrupted, but I can just start again from this point you made with regards to again.
Before you
Uh okay.
continue, share food. Well done, Bankole, but face again. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I don't even know you face again. I don't know, maybe you guys even Luashi. Of course, yeah, is but it's still then if in his face, it's not a big. It's not like me that no matter it's not you know, I'm getting it, but I not of if I accept for years, I don't think I will show so you pick it up from
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, anyway, so one thing again is uh if I pick it up from, let's say, the one point you made, I mean, again, you mentioned mentorship, which I would quickly just brush over. But before that, you studying FWT, you know, I guess we miss a critical part of our education in Nigeria. Again, not to you are not trying to lambast the system, but we are kind of limited by the exposure. And this is why today I'm really happy when I look at FUTA and you look at people like Dr. Macaulay Minton, the kind of exposure he's bringing on campus, especially for the younger students. Now, an average student, FUTA student, knows what a scholarship is. An average student, FUTA students knows like what you have to watch out for out there, the kind of skill sets you have to. I mean, FWT. I mean, I don't know if you remember Victor Akimboduche. He was my mate. He was also an honorable. He also studied FWT, but then after his
me. I think
yeah, exactly. And then this old geodata management, these are big, growing, expanding fields. In I was telling someone, Joe Remoke in FUTA, material sciences. If you are studying material sciences in FUTA, you probably don't think about being a metallurgical engineer or but honestly, we are in the field of biomaterials. When you start hearing of artificial heart valves, when you start hearing of artificial organs, when you start, These are all biomaterial guys. If you had studied material sciences, you would already start learning about these complex cellulose materials. You understand what I mean?
Mhm.
So I guess it's the exposure in one way that how well we can adapt what we have learned. You said something, yeah, for you, FWT is not, maybe you did not see that as a path going forward. Again, then that's an individualistic thing, you know.
I,
Some people would see
my
that
my
and
PhD my
they see
PhD
their
is
own opportunity.
my PhD is also
Okay.
written papers on there. So so I
Oh,
see
yeah,
it as a
exactly. But to corroborate your point, where individualism then comes in, like when I was doing plant breeding, one thing I always said to myself is, no, me, I don't want to wake up in the morning and go to the, what do you call it, the sugar beet plantation or rapeseed or farm and start harvesting very early in the morning in that early morning winter cold, you know. I just wanted something a little bit more fancy, more mainstream, you know. Again, you all have that choice to make these decisions and what you think is best or what is better for you. Now, mentorship is critical. At every phase of my life, when I got abroad, I guess maybe yes, you can talk about our personal motivations, but sometimes your motivations cannot float alone. If you are 100% motivated, you need some pillars on which you can anchor your motivations on. That whatever you dream of, those pillars are giving you short insights that, oh, this thing I'm motivated for, I can actually do it. Again, you can do that in Nigeria, you know. But when I look at our context, motivation or mentorship is still likely missing. And if you look at FUTA's output in the international university community in the last 3 years, and you look at the work Macaulay Meeting is doing, you can really anchor that strongly as mentorship probably being one of the biggest drivers of that kind of progress FUTA is making today. My first 1 month in Germany, I met a family in the museum in Bremen. German family, and this man was like, "Oh, so you are here to, we're discussing," and he was like, "So you are here to study? Great, I love this." You know, no matter what anybody tells you in Germany, no matter how people talk about racism and anything, just shut your ears to that. You are in a country where if you study, I can assure you, you will get a job and you would get a decent life for yourself. Again, those are small words, but they are powerful to the mind.
Mm.
That's not an academic motivation, but that's someone telling me whatever I'm now dreaming of. If you now align that with my 5 years plan from Nigeria, my own motivation, and then I met this old man who told me that. Imagine the ripple effect it has in your brain, in your consciousness as a person. Again, the professor, that was mentorship. I remember when I was doing my master thesis, and every now and then my professor would come like and would be like, "Wow, I'm always impressed by how much you push, especially that you don't know anything in this field 6 months ago when you joined this lab." Little things. I remember when I told him I want to do my master or my PhD in cancer biology, and he looked at me and he was like, "That's Professor Elas." He was like, "I don't get how you think." You know, you are here in so it was actually a company where I did my master thesis. You are here in a company focused on phytomedicine, biological control of crop pests. And how do you wake up from here and say you want to do cancer biology? And it was like, I don't know even if that is possible, but I believe in you and I would write you a very strong recommendation letter. You know, when I got to Anova Medical School for my PhD interview, and I was there with my master's in plant breeding, right? Agrigenomics. And then there were the other students coming with their bachelor, masters in bioengineering, medicine, veterinary medicine, molecular biology, biochemistry. You know, this the Europeans and the Westerners as a student, they gather a lot of experience, internship, 1 year away somewhere, you know. I was so intimidated. And at that point, I just called my mom, like, I guess I'm in the wrong place. I was crying because I was so intimidated. But then I went in and I met another lecturer. He's a scientist, actually. Uh, I'm trying to remember his name. I can't. The name is at the moment of my head. And after we he interviewed me, and he was like, "I just love your drive. I just love people who believe they can always do things that are different, you know." And he was like, this is a very competitive PhD program. It could be that you are not selected at the end of the day. It could be, but please, even if you are not selected, go back, recalibrate, and come again. Don't give up on your dreams. And when he said that to me, at the end of the interview, I guess so we're like 400 and something applicants. They called about 40 of us for interviews. And at the end of the day, I was one of the two students or so on the waiting list out of the 16 selected. So 16 were eventually selected, and two of us were on the waiting list. And instead of, going home sad, I was so happy with myself that, come on, if you don't have any background in this field and you make it up to the waiting list. And then I remembered the words of the guy who spoke with me, that don't give up, and even if you are not selected, go and come back again. And I was like, great. You know what I did when I got home? The very night I got home, I just turned on my laptop, looked for all the possible university hospitals around Kiel, where I did my master's, where I was living then, and I just started writing professors who are working in the field of biomedicine, stem cell research. I know I don't know anything here, but I've been to the Hanover Medical School and I made it to the waiting list. Please, I'm begging you for an internship. You don't have to pay me. I just want to learn. And eventually, one of the professors offered me an internship without pay. But after 1 week, he said, "Oh, I'm impressed by your work." After 2 weeks, so he would come to me every Friday. Professor Francef Mula is his name. He would come to me every Friday. The second week, he was like, "I'm even more impressed. Now now our technician is doing some other work in the Workers' Council. So she would have like 50% of her time in the Workers' Council. And I'm happy to offer you that 50% half-time pay." And I was so happy, But fortunately for me, just 1 month or 1.5 months into the internship, I was contacted again by the Hanover Medical School. "Yes, you are on the waiting list. We have a position we like to share with you. What have you been doing in the last 1.5 months?" And I was like, "Well, in the last 1.5 months, I took the positive from me being on a waiting list. I found a lab. Now I know about plasmid isolation. Now I know how to clone lentivirus plasmid, AAV plasmids. Now I know mammalian cell culture." And I was just counting, and the professors were like, "Wow, this is impressive." And I got the position. So again, at, for every progress I made, I always had people. I mean, they were not officially like my mentors, except for my masters, but I always had people who gave me those encouraging words. People who kind of validate things you aspire to be. And I guess this is still likely missing in our own educational system in Nigeria, where I guess we can agree that most of our professors sees themselves far above us, and we have to maybe shaking around them instead of them. Maybe again, they don't necessarily have to be your friends, but maybe there are ways we can learn to motivate students or mentor students better, because again, being brilliant is one thing, but being able to figure out your life, your ways, your paths in life is another thing. And with that, I would just close by saying this mentorship is really key. And I try to do that as much as possible. Occasionally now, I mean, for the last 1 year, I've been a little bit silent because I got really busy. But this is something because it really helped me in my own life. And I really try to invest as much as I can in mentoring people who show the way to be mentored.
But I like that part where who knows when the school contacted you back again and they asked 1.5 months and you didn't have anything doing. You
Yeah.
have just given in or giving up and waiting for a sort of magic or miracle to just fall on your laps, and you just waited.
So I guess the network again.
Eleni, can you hear me? Okay, it's back.
Yeah,
Hey, can you hear me?
yes, I
My,
guess
net,
something
my network,
disconnected from your side. Yeah.
I'm not. I was so also switch networks. So
Mm,
I'm still home. I'm still here. So
yeah.
we're talking about these things multiple times.
Yeah.
But
Network.
I have one or two, three devices, so I can quickly switch too. But we have to just one of the things in life is the ability to find ways things. You just have to
Mm-hmm.
improvise. You just have to improvise to keep building yourself, to keep transforming. It doesn't matter the challenges. Even though I want, because you made mention that quite some teachers in Nigeria, they are still lagging behind when it comes to this. But I also give kudos to few of them that are also putting their effort. I don't know, maybe because they also see us that we are also moving, even on our own.
Mm,
I think that is where the problem even lies the most. I don't think quite a number of lecturers are really much interested or in maybe students that are the lower level, that they are not coming up faster like they would have expected. For example, now if I enter footer today, quite a number of lecturers greet me and all those things. But sometimes it always occur in my head that assuming I did not go anywhere in life at all, just into my university, would that have happened? And whatsoever, would they have still known me? Just like a foot
mm,
of the footer media on Facebook, that they only pick. I remember the time they picked the story. We read your great, your inspiring when the university picked it. But some people make jest of that platform. That why is it that it's only when your students have become very successful, they've been able to make Babajide that you are talking about. Funny enough, Macaulay is coming after you. Macaulay is coming on this channel on Monday. Next week, Monday, but will be here. I think somebody is coming before Macaulay. So, almost every day now, Footer picked Macaulay news. If you go to Footer Facebook page, almost every day, one thing about Macaulay, but assuming Macaulay did not get an opportunity, as he did not get recognition. Point is that people should.
but that's life, that's life.
Yeah, you are right. So
Yeah,
try to.
that's life.
That's able to.
I just thought again around that line, if our professors or the academic community in Nigeria is doing enough in terms of mentorship, or I don't know, or maybe on the average, if you look at the kind of mentorship advices you get abroad to compare to Nigeria, maybe okay, it's slightly higher abroad, but like you said, kudos to many of our professors and lecturers also, I remembered when I first got to FUTA and Baba Olokun, I don't know if you remember in Professor Olokun. He, yeah,
Very, very.
yeah. He called me into his office and he said, "Yeah, you have a very, or I have a very good entrance scores into the department, and they are looking up to me, in a way. again, that's one kind of connection, right? Encouragement. But somehow, yeah, those years I was more interested in politics and student unionism. Those words did not relate. I mean, I remember I always say it. Professor Alokon had this conversation with me, and I'm sure he also had it with a couple of students. So maybe it's not true that our professors are not doing it or our lecturers are not doing it. Maybe they do it in a little bit different way. Maybe they, I mean, like maybe they are not sitting you down or telling you things are possible because, again, I don't know, but I think they do it. I mean, when I went back to FUTA, I see lecturers like Dr. Elekufeyiti, for example, and I see how he interacts with the students. I see when I call him and I tell him, oh, there is this person interested in something like this, how open he is to welcome people in his lab to learn and gain those competencies. That's also mentorship, actually. But okay, maybe I don't know if it's maybe not many of our professors are doing it to then become more significant. But I think yes, they do it actually, but maybe
I don't.
it's a little bit different.
I don't think many. Just I
Yeah,
don't.
only a few, exactly.
Body. I want to. Like, I number of them. First, we always come and beg
Yeah,
for
yeah.
jobs.
Yeah,
No
I know,
place,
I
you
know,
know.
I know, I know, I
Like
know.
so,
Yeah,
not
but
everybody.
these things are, yeah.
Why do you? Why do you? Also doing not when the younger
Mm.
ones come behind us. That for the particular sector doesn't mean you should not keep learning. Learning is one of the that I have seen to be very. Maybe you are learning formally, or you are learning informally, or you are learning in a go within a great researcher, to writer, to be a great reader, and communicate. But not many of these things. Let's talk about. You understand their I complain about
The conducive environment.
the environment is not conducive and stuff like that. Make sure that it does not have a personal office of his own. Enough lecturer a student one-on-one to be able to be struggling. You know, I also some of these things come from inferiority. Just be enough to feel that am I student these days? Student that are making it, you know how they behave today. I should
Yeah, bro.
lecturer like any per month. Do you know how much I'm even earning even as a 300 level student? Just being a digital or whatsoever and stuff like that. So over the years, that's lecturers to feel like we isolated to themselves. Many of these guys doesn't want to do what I want. I quite read online. They are not so proud of their profession. It's just about the money. Also about one of us.
Yeah.
Whatsoever thing that we have. You see, remember when I dropped out, I was at the verge of dropping out of it because it's frustration from some particular lecturer. Maybe
I know Professor Steve Yekwelu.
yeah. My
He's also
PhD
another
right?
encouraging lecturer. He's also an
You
encouraging
get
professor. Yeah.
he the TAAD board.
Mm-hmm.
So Jan frequently career growth journey too, like you are doing now. And got to be back to Nigeria. I'm still going back. I've done one for him before now, but I was just running. He told me he has to return to Nigeria. Despite the but he said he's letting that now. His age, I don't know.
I mean, the country.
That they seeing them, but this is somebody that he was in Germany when he called me that night. I was leaving the vice chancellor's office because I went to go and para for that. The university will be frustrating me. So if they are frustrating me, people that know even Professor, he was in Germany that time, and he spoke me for over and encouraging me, and he said he would supervise me himself. He would just leave that particular PhD and stuff like that. Sometimes no matter your
So I guess Speaker Bankole dropped off again. Now you're back.
Yeah, I'm back. Sorry.
So one thing I can also quickly.
Okay, yeah, quickly say that.
One thing I can quickly chip in is that, again, yes, many of our lecturers can do more, and maybe this is the kind of conversation we should start initiating with the university community, how we can improve, especially on students, lecturers interaction, not just in the context of welfareism or student unionism, but also to further help or in a way where we can further help the students achieve more. And one funny thing I always say is, I once took a look at the student handbook from my department, APH, back then in FUTA, 2000 and God knows, 9, 8 or so. When you actually look at all of our professors and lecturers, I guess, or I counted actually, but I can't remember the number exactly, but the vast majority of them had either completed their bachelor or their master's or PhDs abroad. So at a point in their lives, they were also on the same level, this kind of exposure. But again, you get where I'm coming from. So, but I just think when they go back and over time, the environment in a way starts limiting. I mean, you can imagine some of our professors who were in Germany in the 80s or in the early 90s learning. They could also talk about all the top class things, all the first in class, all the state of the art technologies. They got other exposures, right? But I guess again, over time you go back to Nigeria and slowly you are losing track of all the new stuffs happening. And I think that also has to do with lecturers' evolution on their own parts. And today, student lecturer interaction is a critical topic which has really evolved in the last 20 years or so. And I guess this we have to find a way to foster in our university communities. Otherwise, we would keep, I mean, majority, no majority. Again, if you make the spectrum, if you have a curve, if you look at the lower edges of the curve, you would find these lecturers who are very encouraging, who are good mentors, who do those things additionally to being a lecturer. And if you look at the other end of the curve, you also find some, I don't know, 10% of your lecturers, those type who look at you and say you will never graduate. No student needs that. I understand students can be excessive and all of that, but when your lecturers look at you and say, no, you can never pass my course,
Sure.
that's also a classical abuse of office, of that same office he occupies. But then you have the peak of your curves where you then have maybe the vast majority of the other lecturers who just maybe do their things and stuff like that. So I think these are critical things we can improve on actually within our university communities. So, Speaker Bankole is off again. Let's hope he's able to connect and continue the session. Okay.
Okay. I need to. Sorry. Hi guys. My name is company now. In a very big because as of this network, I always switch to N45 because Nigerians of data.
Yes.
They can watch. I want these are very powerful insights. This inspiring journey, inspiring stories. So I want as many this conversation at one point the word, just word, and transform the lives of someone. One of the things where I think I don't if some have not played this role and beyond just even talking with someone in your career, because very good opportunity. Somebody to some countries, if not for people, it's not. I didn't graduate. I call it first class.
No.
So it has been proven now. A lot of people that we are doing, not just
wait, sorry, let me just chip some. I mean, we can run another session on that. I mean, that you did not graduate with first class from FUTA does not mean you are a below average student. I mean, I graduated with 2-2 from FUTA. I mean, we got ourselves involved in a lot of things on campus, and that also took some focus away. And for example, when I got into FUTA, like I said, I knew even before I entered FUTA, I wanted to be a politician. It's actually the reason I studied animal production and health, so that when I finish school, I can set up my farm, earn my money from the farm, and do politics. I was that clear, even as a, I don't know, 16-year-old coming into the university. And like I said, in my first semester in FUTA, Professor Alokon really said, I expect you to be a first class student based on your entry results. So that we eventually did not make first class or even strong 2-1 is not really because you are not intelligent or smart. It's really because we got ourselves involved in a lot of things. So because sometimes people, if you don't push it further down, people would say, yeah, but you graduated with a 2-2, and then you have like a very high score in your master's, and you have very good scores in your PhD. No, there is a pattern that we just don't like, that people get it in clearer terms.
Of course, I'm going on these days again because I still want to ask quickly. First one is that what 5 years. So going forward, 5 years of time. Now, where do you fall?
Very quickly in the next part.
Yeah, this one too. You politician of your dream, 10 years want to maybe later in Nigeria. We've seen Nigerians contest parliaments or and they might just speak to that.
I mean, in 5 years, so again, also 10 years ago, when I was making my plans, nothing is absolutely certain. We know that, but nevertheless, we make our plans. So for me, my 5 years term is to get over into my mid-career stage, or start slowly into senior career stage. In 5 years, I'm still not sure if I want to keep going as a research scientist or if I want to slow down a little bit and look at other areas in, let's say, in the pharma industry. Do I want to stay as a scientist? Do I want to move to the other areas of the in the pharmaceutical industry? These are decisions I'm trying to make by the end of next year or by the middle of next year, for example. But I see myself staying in the pharma industry. Even if I would not be doing active research, I would see myself strongly contributing to drug development, drug discovery, stuff like that. And of course, I want to grow my family. I want to make that transition also, stuff like that. It goes pari passu. there are some dreams you now do away with. Sometimes you still keep dreaming. Oh, maybe you want to spend 1 or 2 years in this university in the US. You want to go to Harvard. You want to. Okay, those ones I just think for now I can share those ones and focus on career development and and progress. Well, do I still want to be a politician in Nigeria? I don't know. I mean, many times I try to tell myself, forget about it. This, you are there. I mean, again, you can talk about what kind of contributions we can make. And if we hopefully can bring meaningful changes to the system and improve things. But on the other hand, you get a little bit selfish with yourself. And I'm being realistic here and I'm being very truthful. You get selfish with yourself. Well, my life is going on fine now. I'm a little bit stabilized. Do I want to delve into another network of risky uncertainties? Do I want to take on that type of challenges? Or do I just want to go solo with my life and keep moving? I don't know. It could be. But my one question I could not answer in the last 10 years is by the time I'm 65 or 70 years old, can I really look back and feel happy I did not contribute to Nigeria? This is the question I've not been able to answer in the last 10 years. And I keep asking myself. So, how well I answer that question will determine at what point I would come back to Nigeria. If I think I will be happy, fine with myself not contributing, then I guess if we are to Nigeria, we are a little bit then. But if I think I won't feel comfortable or so in Germany also, I don't know. Let's see how my German language develops with time. If I'm able to master the language, I guess at some point you would fall back to your natural habitat, which is the political space.
That,
I hope that answers
that,
or
that,
creates more
that's
confusion about. Yeah.
really, that's beautiful. I love, really love people that think to themselves. I love accept that I'm not to the decision way. I want to see how it evolve over time. I love that you have really done it on yourself. You have us ability to quickly discover themselves and be able to leverage on that and to part of their whatsoever powerful insights. And I feel that quite a lot of people will learn from what you have just said, and that is my thing now is can you share with me your thoughts about body community and you things are very fast like what is the top 3 values you can share with me?
I will basically I won't I will basically just pick the word of my again I can't remember which teacher taught us that in my GSS1 at Federal Government College Idoani, and he said something like for you to be successful you need 3 Ds in your life. So 3 Ds: 1, decision; 2, dedication. No, 1, decision; 2, determination; 3, dedication. This is the 3 things because you have to be able to make that decision. And I always tell again people around me, you change your life that very day you wake up and you say, I'm going to change my life. That's the day you really change your life. And the moment you're able to make that strong decision and you stay determined and focused, which is again, and which is the dedication part, and you stay committed to that part, it's really only a matter of time. Maybe the first 2, 3 years will be rough. Maybe the first 5 years will be rough. But it's just only a matter of time that you start seeing those results. And you then all of a sudden after 5 years. And now when I look back at let's say 2013, and sometimes I'm like, how did I get here? even though if I've written things down clearly based on decision determined, but sometimes I'm still like, how did I get here? So this would be my that ability to make realistic. Again, I've spoken with a lot of people. They make decisions, but again, our people plus our religious and our sometimes we also set too high goals, and we just believe we can
Mm.
do things. You are not being realistic with your decisions or with the kind of goals you set. This has to be as realistic as possible. Otherwise, you're just running an empty race or a race with no end. So again, ability to make these decisions, ability to stay determined, and to be dedicated and focus on those values. I think these are the three things. The moment you have these three things, other people, the way you talk changes, the way other people perceive you changes, and then you start attracting different side of people who can take you forward on your chosen path.
Guys, is loaded deep into my time. I have to just run.
Yeah.
The areas that you talked about seeing a way to in Nigeria in the country and rich you don't have opportunity to stay abroad the way you can just come back. Also, that can create opportunities for governments beyond the younger ones, and that's also quite very exciting. Collaboration, building that synergy and thinking together brings together. That's one of the things that I've connect with as many artists that sing long I discovered that I know people across the globe, quite in the countries, and that is one. Thank God we are not that assets orientation pattern in way can be very, very in that area too. This investment. I have a friend that we went to secondary school together. He's also in pharmaceutical. He's a pharmacy at Ife. Before he has his PhD in all these things. He has a pharmacy in US. You two pharmacy in the States and so around investment, and you guys can invest quite a lot of things that you are not just making money, but you are that sense of opportunity that invest at. So that is a short. So you also when you want to take that decision, that network has been valid.
Yeah, you are back online. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Great. So it's not just what other people are doing and things like that, and that's the drive over the years in this country. So we should going to just answer in 1 or 2 seconds is that how did you
Well, we did not cover that part, but I get the bulk of so it was basically my mom, my parents who then already made this like maybe some bit of savings and some bit of borrowing, cooperative societies. I also had Egbe and Tisha, all those what do you call it, the Tisha, CMS, cooperative multipurpose societies, my uncles, and yeah. And of course, I also got a lot of input from Victor, who was the first person who told me to come to Germany, actually. Because then I wanted to go to Canada. But then I spoke with Victor, then it was like, come to Germany. So then we started just working on the plans. Yeah.
Of course, you are going to be on this platform one of these days. I will still extend that
Yeah.
invitation to you. Of course, yeah, for us,
Mhm.
of us, one person you stand for, and I better.
Mhm.
That's all this thing alone,
Mhm.
and that's very awesome. Hey, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you too for having me. And yeah, look forward to discussing with you again.
Yeah, of course. Also look forward to that. You are very, very good ahead of you. Stay safe in me, and
Amen.
thank you very much, everybody that have
Thank
taken time to, and we still watch and pick one of you. A nice talking to you from our. I think we cannot the podcast.
Yeah, yeah.
It might not be, but we are not a haste.
Mhm.
A whole lot of that one way or the other, and God help if Jesus we have a great health. And I
Amen.
want to most obsession that phone with me yesterday was about I hear you take too much dollars machine answer so whatever come around to one because I don't even know we are going to have this conversation. This area that you like
Interrupting. Yeah, yeah. So I guess the network tripped off again, but we are actually already at the end. And yeah, thank you guys for listening. And yeah, if you have questions, comments, please feel free to either contact Speaker Bankole or contact me also directly. All right, bye.